been a couple of things that have happened around the fact that Phil Sturgis, Dave Rowe and I announced our resignation from the Society Board, the Walsall Sports Society Board, last Sunday by means of an open letter on Up the Saddlers. We subsequently had a really nice piece penned by Darren Fellows from the Independent Saddlers Supporters Association, and I wanted to say a few words about that. In his novel The Road, the excellent American author Cormac McCarthy writes about the paths that we take through life, who we travel with, what gives our life meaning, the events that tie those people together on their particular road. It's a really important book for me. It's about validation, it's about trust, it's about belonging, and it's about hope. And I see a lot of that in the work that Phil, Dave, Neil, Paul, Bob, amongst others, along with Ray and I, try to do at the Society, building on the work that the Independent Saddlers Supporters Association had done in previous years. Independent supporters groups, especially those with shareholdings in the club, especially those that are democratically elected, are critical really in holding the board of directors to account for the decisions that they make, and in hopefully making those members of the board see their responsibility to their local community, see their responsibility to their supporters. Now, the trust itself is important because it's one of its key kind of precepts is about the involvement of the community in the running of the football club and the football club's responsiveness to its community's needs. Now, we've kind of failed a little in our ability to get the football club to engage with a broader community, with a broader caucus of opinion, but at least we've held it to account over the decision-making processes that underpin both the business side and the footballing side of the football club, in discussions over the rent, over directors' loans, over loans from outside of the board of directors, and over the kind of sustainability and the ongoing health of the football club. Holding the club to account over its decision making is right and proper. It's a sign of good governance, and I kind of hope that the trust manages to continue really with a new board that reflects the broader society's aims, and I hope that it's got a broader demographic than it currently has really. That's critical, I think, in making it more responsive and more inclusive, and in working with the club going forward. Their critics may point to the Trust's reluctance to publicly criticise the actions of the club too loudly as a weakness, but this itself ensured that the board sacrificed a huge amount of credibility and goodwill with their continual refusal to engage with democratically elected independent supporters groups at any level. In all too many of their somewhat terse responses to questions at AGM, the board's irritation at having to answer such pertinent questions was barely masked. Thanks to the work of the Society and the Independent Saddlers Supporters Association, issues such as ground ownership, rent, finance, and the continually woeful standard of communication between club and supporters have all been around at the forefront of intelligent debate about our club for the best part of the last 15 years. It is clear that thanks to these supporter groups, just about every Saddlers fan is aware of who owns the ground on which we play and who collects the rent on it. The fact that the board clearly took a huge dislike to the Independent Saddlers Supporters Association, the efforts they were making, and has not once engaged in conversation with the Trust speaks volumes. 8 years of banging your head up against a brick wall erected in front of their every move has eventually taken its toll on these three good men. That's very nice of him. As someone who knows only too well how difficult it is to produce worthwhile two-way communication with WFC HQ down to its supporters, I'd like to congratulate them on their fine and worthy efforts. Whilst others moan, groan and criticise, they, like the Independent Saddler Supporters Association before them, at least gave it a go. And for that they should be proud. So those are are important words coming from someone like Darren. That kind of validates all of the work that we've been trying to do over the last 8 years, and it makes me realise that in the book project and in the work we've tried to do, holding the club to account, that I can feel proud of the work that Phil and Paul and Dave and Ray, Neil and Bob latterly have been trying to do, really, in trying to engage the community with the club. It's an honour, really, to walk the same road as someone like Darren Fellows.